Some events in history transcend their own milieu and enlarge into the landscape of legends. It is not very often that we come across such events and personalities which illumine the future with intense promise. The visit of Swami Vivekananda to Assam in 1901 can be described as one such phenomenon. Swami Vivekananda, as he is known to us, was not just a figure of spiritual quest. He was an evolved soul who sought to spread the vision of humanity emancipated. Not just a lover of his motherland, he enshrined the spirit of selfless service to the needy and the depressed. In childhood, the Swami was known as Narendranath. The transformation from Narendranath to Swami Vivekananda under the tutelage of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa and his wife Devi Sharada enabled him to venerate the Mother, both in her mortal as well as ethereal form. The visit to Assam could also be viewed as an act of reverence to his mother, the will of his mother Bhuvaneshwari Devi, and destiny preordained by the Divine Mother. It is natural to wonder if the motivation behind his trip could be his soul's quest of the three manifestations of the Divine Mother, the goddess Ma Kali at Dakshineshwar, Kanyaka Parameshwari at Kanyakumari, and Devi Kamaikha. It was in April, around the time the traditional Assamese New Year would have started, that he reached Dhubri. In Dhubri, he must have become acquainted with one of the oldest legends of that region, the story of Netai Dhubuni and Beula Lakhinder. During the time he reached Dhubri, the riverine township already contained the legacy of an eventful past. This was the place where the Sikh Guru Tegh Bahadur had established the oldest Gurudwara in the northeast of India. By the banks of the Brahmaputra, the Gurudwara symbolized the coalescence of faith that was synonymous with India. Dhubri was also the place that saw the establishment of Brahmo belief, a rational approach to life that the Swami was already familiar with. It is unfortunate that nothing of great detail survives that could relate to the Swami's visit to this town. Fragments of information are all that one gathers from senior citizens. Ritendra Mohan Datta says, "I heard from my father that Swamiji was here for a day or two. Because there was no railways at that time, he came by steamer. He stayed on the steamer itself. From here, he left for Guwahati with his mother and a few other companions." One thing can be said with certainty. With many other places, Dhubri will share the glory of Swami Vivekananda's visit. His journey from Dhubri to Guwahati could have been hazardous, but what the young saint never lacked was courage and tenacity. Around April 17th, he, along with his mother and another companion, reached the holy temple of Kamaikha. The sight that greeted him must have been one of benign serenity. At that time of the year, the Nilasal hills on which the temple is situated would have been luxuriantly green. But the feeling of intense faith that the temple evoked could not have been any different. From ancient times, Kamaikka has been identified with the cult of the mother goddess, the seat of Tantra. Even then, the chant of the slokas, the ringing of bells, and the expression of the thronging devotees gave the place a timeless dimension. Not far from the Kamaikka temple is another temple dedicated to goddess Bhubaneswari. It was here, atop a hill, that the Swami spent his time in deep meditation. Blessed by the serene vistas, the calmness of his mind could have revealed many insights and would have strengthened his resolve even further. A century ago, the precincts of the temple did not possess the populated settlement of today. Life in Kamaikka was more languid, its rhythm more fluid and gracious. In Kamaikka, the Swami stayed as a pilgrim in the residence of Vivekananda and Lokkikanta Panda. There, he became acquainted with the amiable way of life that prevailed in the household of the priests. Their descendants still treasure the visit and with painstaking care maintain the room where their illustrious guest stayed. Niranjan Sharma, a descendant of the family, says, Swamiji arrived in the month of April 1901. Here he stayed for 3 days. Apart from Kamaikka temple, every evening he visited the Bhubaneswari temple. At that time the area was like a jungle. My father Ramdas, along with his brothers Gaurikanta, Dhanikanta and Krishnakanta, saw Swamiji at our place. According to them, his presence was really inspiring. Touched by the hospitality that he experienced, the Swami wrote a letter of appreciation, which is now a rare testament of his visit. I have great pleasure in certifying the great amiability and helpfulness of the brothers Sivakanta and Lakshmikanta Panda of Kamaikka Pitham. They are men who help most and are satisfied with the least. I can unhesitatingly recommend them to the Hindu public visiting the most holy shrine. Several other letters reveal the relationship that people close to the Swami enjoyed with the family. A memorial that stands at Kamaikka commemorates his visit. If the pilgrimage to Kamaikka fulfilled his and his mother's spiritual quest, then another significant aspect started to unfold when he reached Guwahati. The busy schedule that he had indicates his zeal to propagate his message of love, service, and unalloyed national pride. A hall where the Cotton College stands today, became the venue of an august gathering of people from Guwahati and its neighboring region. In his address, the Swami presented an inspiring vision of a resurgent India. Seldom had the saint spoken with so much faith and conviction as the fortunate people present in the meeting would recall. Incidentally, it was in the same year that the college, the first one in the northeast of India, was established. Since then, it has been radiating the light of knowledge and wisdom among the people of the region. Two seminal events in the same year. It was more than a mere coincidence. That spring, the air of Guwahati was stirred by the Swami's clarion call. Like branches spreading out from a resilient tree, the Swami's message reached out to many more. He attended another public meeting in Honaram High School. Here, like elsewhere, people thronged to hear him speak. His frequent wish to make the people rise and act met with enthusiastic response. A diverse section of people were affected by his message of hope, faith, and resurgence. It also included some members of the British ruling class who were impressed by the Swami. After all, his emphasis on service to humanity was not alien to the church and its followers. The hectic schedule in Guwahati, however, had strained his health. The advent of the rainy season left little scope of improvement in his asthmatic condition. As the days passed, he showed no signs of recuperation and was advised by his well-wishers to spend some time in Shillong. Soon thereafter, he was on his way to Shillong, the then capital of undivided Assam. The journey he undertook was not easy. It was a far cry from today's 3-hour ride over paved road. According to reports, he had to ride a horse-drawn carriage for a long and difficult passage over rain-soaked terrain. By the time he arrived in Shillong, the Swami's health had further deteriorated. Lodged in this house in Laban, even though he was unwell, he interacted with a cross-section of people from the town and the neighboring areas. There, he also addressed a gathering in Quintal Hall, which he inaugurated. His presence in Shillong further emphasized his ability to touch the hearts and minds of people with whom he did not share a similar background. The Swami's visit paved the way for the foundation of Ramakrishna Mission, Shillong. With time, that mission enlarged to its present status as one of the foremost spiritual organizations in the region. At present, it houses an extensive collection of books of diverse disciplines. But its enlightening role extends beyond books, and adhering to Swami Vivekananda's dynamic vision, the mission encompasses meditation, yoga activities, humanitarian work, and a range of other service-oriented projects. Amid the pine trees and a climate more temperate, the sojourn in Shillong helped him regain his health, and after some days he headed back for Belur Math. After his departure, the mission that the Swami helped establish succeeded in spreading his message over a region which otherwise would have remained in isolation. Reflecting on his experience in Shillong, eminent historian Jayanta Bhushan Bhattacharjee says,
because of the initiative of great Khasis like Jivan Roy, Hormu Roy Diendo, Rashmohan Roy, so many Indian scriptures, including the epics, Ramayana, Mahabharata in abridged form, were brought out in Khasi language. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Buddha Charita, etc. were translated and printed in Khasi language. And it was because of the initiative of this group who were inspired by the spirit of Indian Renaissance that they sent an invitation to Swamiji to come and visit Shillong.
The task of translating the Swami's message into action has been taken up by two organizations, Ram Krishna Mission and Moth, established by Swamiji himself, and Vivekananda Kendra, a spiritually oriented service organization. The Vivekananda Kendra Guwahati attempts to achieve the exalted ideals of the Swami, namely his belief in selfless service to humanity. The Kendra also plays host to a range of well-planned activities which involve youth of different age groups. Coming from various walks of life, they seek enlightenment from the life, works and teachings of Swami Vivekananda. Prayers and spiritual discourses form a regular part of their activities. Swami's teachings leave their distinct imprint on many a tender heart. Many of those have felt the effects of the Swami's noble message.
स्वामी जी मेरे जीवन में एक आदर्श के रूप में है, क्योंकि स्वामी जी का एक चीज़ मुझे बहुत ही एडोर करती है, जैसे कि he was not a blind believer of God. वे जब भी कुछ सोचते थे उनके पीछे कुछ न कुछ रीज़न रहता था।
स्वामी जी को पढ़ने से लगेगा मानो वो हमारे भाई हो, वो हमारे अपने हो और हमें बोल रहे हो कि जागो, तुम हीन नहीं हो, तुम्हारे अंदर बहुत शक्तियाँ हैं और तुम्हारे अंदर ताकत है कि तुम इस दुनिया को बदल सकते हो। जरूरत है तो अपने अंदर झांकने की, अपने आप को पहचानने की, अपने आप को कभी कमज़ोर मत समझो। तुम वही हो जो तुम्हारे विचार हैं। तुम्हारे विचार अगर हीन है, दुर्बल है, तो तुम्हें सफलता और मुक्ति नहीं दे सकता।
The Swami, who always laid stress on a nation of strong and sinewy Indians, would have been elated by the rejuvenation of these forms which have roots in the hallowed Indian past. Serve man to serve God, the idea remains alive in the mission's activities.
Swamiji is hero of my life. His thoughts and deeds inspire me in my studies and in my daily life. I want to serve my brothers and sisters of Bharat Mata.
I am there in Arunachal Pradesh since 1975. Arunachal children, they are very adventurous children. When they saw that Swamiji is speaking in their own language, say Swamiji said, if you are a good football player, then your muscles will be strong. Then you can serve your country in a better way. These thoughts children liked very much because they were very lover of the football. On the other hand, the small children, when they learn the Swamiji's ghost story, because those children, they were having the fear for the ghost, and Swamiji did this early incident from the childhood, not to fear from the ghost, children liked very much.
প্ৰথমতে তেখেতে চিকাগোত গৈ পেলাই ভাৰতৰ নিচিনা এখন পিছপৰা দেশৰ পৰা গৈ পেলাই চিকাগোত যি ভাষণ দিছিলে সেই কথাটো জানি পেলাই মই স্কুল আৰু কলেজত থাকোঁতে কিছুমান বক্তৃতা প্ৰতিযোগিতাত মই অংশ ল'বৰ কাৰণে মই সাহস পাইছিলোঁ আৰু সেইখিনিয়ে মোক পিছৰ জীৱনতো বহুতখিনি সহায় কৰিছে মই মোৰ যি ভয় আছিলে সমজুৱাকৈ মই কথা ক'বৰ কাৰণে মোৰ যি ভয় আছিল সেই ভয়টো তেখেতৰ সেই চিকাগোৰ ভাষণৰ যি কথা জানিছিলোঁ তাৰ পৰাই মই যথেষ্ট সাহস পালোঁ।
The principles of selfless service find further manifestation in the shape of a hospital that the mission runs. Here, the sick and the ailing receive free medical care and attention, all with grace and dignity, consonant with the compassion and empathy which are synonymous with Swami Vivekananda.
With the ideal set by Swami Vivekananda, Atman Mokshartam Jagat Hitaya, that is self-realization and service to the world. And based on that, all the Ramakrishna mission has come out.
It was really beautiful working out there to see the new generation, to impart whatever I had learnt about Swami Vivekananda again into this new generation. It is a hard job because first of all we have to realize and understand, then only we can impart it into these children. But then the things were easy for me because my teachers had taught me so many things about Swami Vivekananda and had made me realize what I have to do. Maybe not explicitly literally in those terms, but then I knew that what I had to do with the new generation. I had to make them realize that the new generation is going to emerge as the pioneers in carrying the torch of Swami Vivekananda's teachings to the masses. And Swamiji had said that the new India shall emerge from the forests and the groves, from the hills and the mountains. And that is what we have to do, and that is what we have to realize.
From providing basic health care to propagating the spiritual ideals of our glorious past, and from spreading the light of education to the preservation of the region's cultural treasures, the consequences of Swami Vivekananda's historical visit have been significant indeed. More than a century after his visit, the achievements that his ideals inspired reveal their unaltered relevance. The impact of his visit, like the pertinence of his message, is thus still effervescent. No wonder that people from different walks of life are spellbound by the profundity of his message. It is certain that as the future unfolds, the magnitude of that one historical visit will only be felt deeper than ever. In the course of a brief visit, the Swami was able to leave a deep imprint on the collective psyche of the region. He inspired the creation of a climate where universal qualities like love, sympathy and service became wedded to a belief in fierce national pride.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेव एवावशिष्यते। ॐ